Hey, it's Kelly, and no, your ears do not deceive you. Curveball's back. And if you're wondering why we've been AWOL, well, it's because I've been facing my very own series of curveballs this year, starting with the devastating floods in Australia in February. At midday, my two daughters and I were baking brownies in the kitchen, bemoaning days of wet weather. And then just a couple of hours later, we were scrambling to get our valuables and ourselves to safety.
First, I'm going to speak to Kellie Riordan. Hello, Kellie. How are you going?
I'm good, yeah. I'm at Wilston, actually just down from Windsor. And, we're going okay, but I think that's the hard bit for people.
When you were cleaning up, there were some precious items that you thought that you were going to lose.
Oh, yeah, this was the worst bit. I'm a pretty stoic kind of girl, and I was fine all day Monday as we ripped the carpet. I was fine when we were throwing out furniture. I was sort of fine, mopping up everything. But then because you've got to, people arrive and it's wonderful to have all of that help, but you sort of lose. I lost track of who was doing what, and then it wasn't until everyone went home at sort of 4 o'clock that we suddenly realised no one had sort of pulled anything out from underneath our stairs that are in the house. You know how I've got that under the stairs?
The storage area, yep.
The storage area. So, of course, I went, oh, my God, everything's under there. And my husband and I pulled it out, and that's when I just burst into tears because I have all the kids' kindy books and the stories they wrote in grade 1 and all of our cards people gave us for a wedding, cards people gave us for an engagement, all my travel diaries from when I was a kid and I travelled overseas as a 20-year-old, all the overseas photo albums, all of that. But I just put the call out again to my network and said, can anyone come and just grab a scrapbook and take it home and get your hairdryer and see what can rescue? And fortunately, thanks to these beautiful friends, everyone took a handful of things. And, I've got one friend who, both her and her child kind of sat there for 2 days and painstakingly went, page by page, rescued a scrapbook, re-put all the pages into a display folder for me. It looks better than it ever has. It's beautiful. And, that's where you just go, people are amazing. And we've lost a lot of it, but I haven't lost absolutely everything. And if I just stood on the driveway and I thought, why didn't I pull that stuff out? Because you can't get that handwriting back, once those little kids and those little handprints and those little bits of, handwriting happen. You just
all the kindy drawings.
Going, I can't get this back.
So, unfortunately, there wasn't a whole lot of time to chase down great guests and record interviews between apartment hunting and ripping out the sodden carpets and sorting through the wreckage of the downstairs level of our house. But we finally found a temporary apartment and moved all of our stuff. And then the kids both got COVID. So that meant trying to isolate and work and deal with the insurance company and do schoolwork, all from a tiny apartment. So it was really important at this time to just go to my happy place, and that's the hockey field. But even that, led to a disaster.
So Kellie was playing hockey, and we were actually playing quite well, which is saying something because our team hasn't done particularly well.
That's Carol, my best mate who plays hockey with me.
Kellie was running down the middle of the field and just appeared to trip over and almost do a somersault. But when she lifted her arm off the ground, most people thought she was laughing because she was stepping her feet on the ground.
So Carol's also a physio, and as she wrapped my shirt around my arm, she was the one who told me, Kel, it's really bad. Do not look down at your arm.
You could actually see from quite far away her arm was not straight. So I ran to see how she was, and it wasn't good. The arm was definitely not straight. In fact, it was very bent. And she was in an awful lot of pain. She was a real trooper, but it looked very, very uncomfortable. So poor Kel had to lie on the middle of the hockey field for a good 20, 30, 40 minutes maybe, waiting for an ambulance to arrive on a Sunday night.
But of course, you can't host a show called Curveball if you're not going to get right back on that horse after life throws troubles your way. And so we're finally back with a brand new season, and it's shaping up to be our best yet. You'll hear from Olympian, doctor, and mother of 6, Jana Pittman.
You don't have to have a life like mine to be successful. I have seen far more relaxed, balanced people have a far happier life than try to chase some of the goals I have. And I do have, not regrets would be the wrong word, but I wish I'd done things differently, statements to myself where I think I could have still achieved possibly even more in athletics had I backed off a little bit.
You'll hear how leadership expert and author Kirsten Ferguson honed her skills in the cutthroat military culture of the 1990s.
We were definitely outnumbered by men, but everything around surviving at ADFA had a real masculine sort of sense to it. And that need to fit in became sort of core to my ability to succeed there.
And you'll also meet Kath Koschel, who's at the heart of one of the most extraordinary stories I've ever come across. She founded the Kindness Factory after not 1, but 2 debilitating back injuries and some absolutely devastating personal losses. But it was the support she had along the way that really inspired the amazing work that she's done since.
I actually consider myself to be the luckiest person alive which is interesting when you hear a story like mine. And I say that because I'm not my family or my closest friends. I think a much harder thing to do would be to support someone to go through the things that I have. And for that, I just think they're the toughest and strongest and most incredible people that I'll ever know.
Curveball. It's the show that leans into life's messy moments. Make sure you're following Curveball in your podcast app. Keep your eye on our socials so you don't miss an episode. Or for more, head to curveballshow.com.